Tuesday's paper, yesterday's New York Times, on the op-ed section, on opposite the editorial page in the first section, there was a piece written by Mr. Jamie Dimon. He is the head of the J.P. Morgan Chase Bank. You know, when you see Chase every 2 blocks in any direction, he's the head of that bank. And he has wisdom. I know it's wisdom because the title of his op-ed is Higher Wage Wisdom by Jamie Dimon. So he thinks it's wisdom. In any case, it's whatever wisdom he can manage, so I want to talk about it. He announces he's come up with a penetrating idea. It's really new. I'm going to read you from the first section. Wage stagnation, income inequality, a lack of quality education, insufficient. Issues like these have led approximately 2/3 of Americans to believe that the next generation will be worse off than the last. At J.P. Morgan Chase, we're starting to deal with this by giving thousands of employees a raise. Oh. Mr. Dimon has discovered inequality, and he's concerned about it. He's concerned. This is exciting. As you read on, he explains. A pay increase, it's the head of a bank, a pay increase is the right thing to do. Hey, a man who's a banker and who knows what's right. You don't get that often. So here's what we're going to do. Get ready, because First of all, he lets us know a little statistic. It is really good. Turns out that 18,000 employees of J.P. Morgan Chase enjoy currently a minimum salary of $10.15 an hour. Yeah. You see, a man is really on top of the situation. He knows poverty because that's what he does. He makes it for 18,000 people who get $10.51. And here's what he's going to do. There's a man with a big heart. Ready? He's moving them up to $12, and between $12 and $16.50 an hour over the next 3 years. You wouldn't want to rush any of this. You don't want to go too fast. These poor people, you give them some money, they get all confused. So you help them. You make it real slow. $2 over 3 years, so you don't get nutty and drown in alcohol. The little bit you can buy for that amount of money. So I did a little calculation. It's what they teach us in graduate school. To become an economist, you have to do arithmetic. The fancier the arithmetic you do, the better the job you get. So I figured out it would be important to see just how Jamie himself was doing, given that he's concerned about poverty. So I went and I checked, and in the last full year, 2015, Jamie Dimon's pay was, for the last year, $27 million. So I assumed that he worked all 52 weeks of the year. Yes. I'm trying to be, I'm assuming he worked the whole year. Guy works himself, these bankers, they really, you can see it when you look at him. Man's exhausted. Okay, 52 weeks. And then I calculated that he worked a 40-hour week. That's the norm in our society. So that allowed me then to figure out how much he gets an hour. If you get $27 million a year and you work 40 hours each week for 52 weeks, here's what it works out to. I did it twice to make sure I didn't make a mistake. Jamie Dimon last year earned $12,975 an hour. which means that Jamie, in 2 hours, made more money than those 18,000 people did in the entire year. Now, you want to take this seriously? Only the New York Times takes this seriously. The New York Times gives him the pride of place and calls what he has to say wisdom. That's wisdom. I could make many more comments, but the man doesn't need comments. This is what journalists call a puff piece. This is a piece to make J.P. Morgan Chase look good because it's raising people's wages. We're all supposed to celebrate raising people's wages because he discovered now, after 40 years, that inequality is growing, and can you imagine? Americans are pissed off about it, and he's concerned. Now, my guess as to the truth of this, it had nothing to do with any of this pap, which is so wildly self-destructive of him. You don't need me to make fun of it, although I admit I enjoy it. So what's really going on? They have to raise the wages. You know why? Because there's a movement for $15 an hour among retail workers and fast food workers and department store workers. It's only a matter of time before the $10 an hour that they pay to clerks. By the way, remember that the next time you go into a bank. That a lot of the people on the other side of that thing, you know, they're getting a whopping $10 an hour for what they're doing there. Imagine what they're living like. So they're trying to avoid the union coming in to organize those people now that the person making coffee or flipping the hamburger for you is able to get $15 an hour. They're trying to beat, they don't want the union to come in and do it. So that's the truth. But that all has to be dressed up as the heart he has for the poor. The poor.